So the second section of our book talks about getting to know your audience and your situation. So obviously, like we talked about in the last video, you want your audience's attention throughout your entire presentation. And the best way to do this, according to the textbook, is to recognize your audience's egocentrism and take advantage of that. Egocentrism is essentially saying that humans, whether or not we were taught to do otherwise, are biologically programmed to put themselves first. So in the context of public speaking, if the topic's not interested to them, you're not going to have your audience's attention. Unless they're just really nice people that really want to make you feel good, but 99% of people are going to say, I don't really care about this. So the next important thing is to understand your place and your audience size. So the venue is pretty important. If you're at a venue where you and your audience are on the same level, but maybe they're all sitting in chairs, you might have to prepare yourself to walk through them, or maybe keep your head high so you can see through the back of the audience. If you have a stage, for example, then it's completely different. Now you might want to walk around on the stage, kind of prepare yourself to give the audience that feeling that you have a really good stage presence. And the size of your audience is also something you need to take into account, because if it's a really small size, say I'm giving a speech to 6 or 7 students in a class, I can be a lot more personable. I can look people in the eye and I can make statements that personally relate to a person in that classroom. However, if I'm giving a speech to a large group of people, maybe 1,000 people, obviously whatever this is, they have some form of respect for me. 1,000 people are coming to listen to me. I don't want to be as personable. I don't want to seem like I'm one of you. I want to seem like I'm above you guys and I'm giving this speech because I'm more knowledgeable about this topic than any of you are. The other thing you want to pay attention to is time. And not necessarily time length of your speech, but just all the factors of time in regards to your speech. So what time of day are you going? If you're going in the morning, maybe you got to give one of those, how's everyone doing? And when they say, good, I can't hear you, or something like that, just to get them kind of woken up, get them energetic and prepared for your speech. If you're going at night, then maybe you don't need to do that. Maybe you want to start off a different way. How's everyone's day going? Something like that. And then also, what time are you going in maybe the context of other public speakers? So if you're giving a speech or a presentation and 2 people have already gone, then you want to make sure that your audience is going to keep paying attention to you. So maybe you make a joke about how you're not going to be as good as the first 2 or something like that. If you're the first person to go in the speech, though, you got to really set the tone. So maybe you're very energetic and you're kind of bouncing around giving a really high energy speech. The occasion is obviously also important. If you're giving a wedding speech, you don't want to give a speech that you would give at a funeral and vice versa. And then to understand your audience, the textbook said that you can either survey or interview your audience to understand them. I think that's a bit far stretched, especially for what we're doing right now as a public speaking class. I don't think we're going to need to survey or interview our audience, to understand where they come from. I think the best thing you can do, if you're giving a speech in somewhere you're not really familiar with, is just research the area. You can probably find a lot about the area. Go there a couple days before, talk to people, get a feeling of how their hospitality is and all that stuff, how their mannerisms are different from the ones you're used to, and then I think you'll have a fine feel of your audience and a good enough feel to really capture them and go back into what we were talking about before with their egocentrism. And then the last thing is adapting to noise. So noise can be literal noise, or it can just be anything that's kind of going on in between you and your audience. So maybe you're giving a speech and there's an air conditioning thing that's just buzzing constantly. You want to maybe pick your voice up a little bit, really try to project it so that it overcomes that and it kind of drowns that out. Another thing noise could be is maybe there's a lot of space between you and your audience for some reason. The venue's not really set up well, or maybe the podium's set up weirdly so that people are kind of directly below you, so you have to look down kind of awkwardly. So these are all things that you have to adapt to, and a good public speaker is going to make it seem like they're not even an issue.